It's like you. Buenos días.
Are there any questions? Homework is due Sunday night. Well, we'll go over it today, so feel free to turn it in Sunday night. Project 3 was due last Sunday. Make sure you do your responses by tonight. There's some really nice ones. I just looked through though. I didn't grade because there were no responses I didn't want. Project 4 is up there. Is there any questions on it? When's the exam?
Next week.
Next Friday, the in-person, and the take-home's due by next Sunday. It'll be up sometime this weekend, maybe Friday. Any questions?
You live stream this.
Do I what?
Live streams or stream?
Yeah, there's. You mean like WebEx? So you could always go, just Monday and Wednesday, though I don't when there's a group assignment test, yeah. Okay, so Jimmy John went shopping on Black Friday and charged $2,500 on his new Visa credit card, which had a zero balance before the charge. The Visa has a monthly periodic rate of 1.8%. How do we find the annual rate? Anyone? Mm-hmm. Since it's monthly, you take the monthly rate and multiply it by 12. $21.6%. Any questions? So, excuse me, a monthly rate multiply by 12, a quarterly rate multiply by 4, semi-annually multiply by 2. So it is not taking into account interest on top of interest. It's just an annual rate, just an estimate. Any questions? Any that have like a blank space, you don't have to write stuff. I don't know that there's very many to have to write sentences for. So. Okay. Well, I can read it. When the bill comes in December, he decides to make monthly payments of $400 for December, January, and February. Then he will see what he owes and maybe try to pay it off in March. Fill in the table below. Round to the nearest cent. The biggest mistakes happen in the rounding portion of it. Notice that December he has balance $2,500 and he doesn't have any interest. If he paid that $2,500 off, no interest. But instead, he's just going to make $400 payment. So in January, the beginning balance is that $2,500 minus the $400, or $2,100. You only pay interest on what that balance is in January. So the first thing we need to do is write 1.8% as a decimal. What is 1.8% as a decimal?
0.01.
And we want 1.8% of the 2,100, so we're multiplying those. So the interest should be $37.80. God bless you. Go ahead and do the next 2 months. So on the in-person exam, there's either one like this one or one, the loan. This is the credit card. The other one is savings account. But it'll be short like this one. It won't be 6 months. If you can do a couple months, you can do 6 months. Why that's vibrating so much? Does anyone want to say the balance in February? Their balance would be 1737.
Oh, just to add interest.
So we take that $2,100 balance plus our interest for that month and add them. And then whatever they decide to pay, and in this case, he's making a $400 payment, so $1,737. And make sure you're checking these because the outline, which I didn't put our recording in because there was a wrong amount. I typed 2626, but I used 2625 throughout. So make sure you're double checking in case I type something wrong. But I put the other recording up, so it was correct. So for interest, you're paying it on that February remaining balance, 1737 times the 0.018. Did you get 3128? Well, if you didn't do March yet, go ahead and do it. So what do we get for March balance? We took our 1737.80 and added the interest and then subtracted the payment, which was $400. And we got 1369. I think it's the band that's showing. For the interest then, 1369 times the rate as a decimal, 2464. So if he did want to pay it off in March, what would he need to pay? How do we find that? Add the balance and the interest together. You get 1393. Make sure you are showing your work, one, so that you go back and study it. And two, so I know what you were doing. Any questions? How do we find how much interest? Yeah, add up the interest column. So that last column is interest if you add up the interest. Any questions on that? Yes. So you decide that you need a down payment when you buy a home. So you want to put $200 into a savings account each month that has a 7.2% monthly rate. Show the first 6 periods in the table below and answer the questions there. A savings account right now, you might get a 0.5%. 7.2% would be a loan right now. So it seems kind of large, but it's hard to find an interest rate. Maybe a CD. But also notice when we put that $200 into the savings account, we start making money as soon as we open that account. And that's why the interest, unlike the credit card, you don't get charged if you pay it off. The savings account, you're making money because they start using your money as soon as you put it in there. Therefore, the $200, you're getting your 7.2% monthly rate, $14.40. So the next month, you have the $200 balance plus the interest you made, and then you're putting another $200 into the account. So you have $414.40. And that's how much you make in interest that on that 414, because that was the balance at the beginning of that cycle. So go ahead and do the other 4 months. The biggest difference is you're putting money into the account, so you're adding the number at the end rather than subtracting the payment. So for the third one, you get 644.24. And then you're paying interest, or not paying, this one you're getting interest, but you're getting interest on that balance of $644. So we multiply it times our rate as a decimal and get 46.39. What do we get for the next balance? Anyone? $90.63. And how much interest? Anyone?
$64.13.
64.13. Yep, 64.13. Because we take that 890, multiply times the rate, which is 7.2%, and we get $64.13. Is that what everyone got? So then number 5, or the fifth period, we would take the 890, add the $64 interest plus our $200 down, and what do we get? Gotta help me, or I'm gonna go real quick and flip the page. 1154. And what's the interest? 83.14. Any questions? And then what's the balance in the 6th month? 1 or 14? Is that what it is? Is that what you got?
Yes.
Okay. With the motor running, I just wasn't hearing it all. I thought I heard a 6 in there. So what we did was we took the 1154 plus the $83, including the change with it, and the $200 down payment to get 1437, and then the interest on that 103. Any questions on that? Is everyone okay with filling them out? So one of those is on the in-person portion of the exam, which is next Friday. In half a year, how much is in the account? How do we find it?
Yes.
So after each period, if you add, so if we wanted at the end of 6 months, if you add the balance and the interest, that's how much is in the account. You get 1541. Any questions? How much was contributed? So how much did you put into the account? We put $200 every month, 6 months. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, $1,200. Any questions on that? How about interest? How do we find out how much interest? Add the interest column. Any questions? You're buying a home for $250,000 and taking a loan on the entire amount. If the annual interest rate is 4.5%, find the payments, answer the question. And it also said, when I copied it, I didn't put the 30 years, but the homework assignment says for 30 years. Most home loans are 30 or 15, but this one said 30. The P is the amount of the loan, and we didn't say a down payment, so we're taking the whole 250,000 on the loan. R is your rate, your annual rate. That's why we divided by 12 to make it monthly. Which is 4.5%. And Y is the number of years. So R is a rate, but it has to be written as a decimal. P is the amount of the loan. Plug it in to find your payment. Please get out your calculator and plug it in. Make sure I will not help you on the exam plugging this in. So you have got to try it before that.
You give us the formula?
The formula will be given, yes. So this top part will be given. You'll need to plug it in and put in your calculator.
You're
30. Yeah. On the homework, it says 30. I just forgot to transfer it to the PowerPoint. Or when I highlighted, I didn't highlight that part. Should be getting 1266. If you're not getting 1266, you need to put your hand up and ask with these. Okay, so the 4.5 needs to be written as a decimal. So you have to change both of us. Look like everything. Well, I didn't see all of it. Any question? The problem is, because you're using a division sign, the whole bottom is being erased. I think you put the whole bottom. Fine. But I like doing it.
That's probably.
Try it. Yours actually has a fraction bar. I don't know how to get it, but somehow there's a fraction bar.
Well, I don't, that's what I get to do, but she. I just had all sort of else first.
So that's fine.
You get, I really just watch us do this first, but then. We did them put these together.
Oh. Remember, your rate always needs to be written as a decimal point or 5. If you are entering it all at once and a couple things. That bottom here needs to be in parentheses if you don't have a fraction bar. This has to be a parentheses. Another thing is if it's not putting it up in the exponent, if it's using a caret, this needs to be in parentheses. This is a negative sign, not a minus sign. This is the minus sign. And your rate has to be a decimal. So if you want
No. Sorry.
So if you typed it exactly like this, you have to put parentheses around the bottom. If you get a caret instead of up in the exponent, this has to be in parentheses or multiply it first. This is a minus sign. This is a negative sign. They are not the same. That's it. You could also do it in parts. Just do the top, just do the bottom, and then divide them. So if you just do the top, you should get 937.5. The bottom, you should get 0.7401043446.
So do you round that at all?
I would not. I would not round till the end, or it could be off a little. And you should get 1266.71. Is everyone getting that now? If you do it at least separately, are you getting these two values? Those who are online, if you do the top first, you should get 937.5. And then if you do the denominator, you should get 0.7401043463. Divide them and you'll get the 1266. Any questions? Those who were having trouble, we got it worked out? Total contributions. So we're paying this every month for 30 years. Your contributions are your payments times 12 because it's monthly, and then times the number of years, which this one was 30. So to get your total contributions, $456,000 for a $250,000 loan. So the total amount this person's paying for the house is $456,000. Any questions on that? To find the interest that was paid, just take that total contribution, the $456,000, and subtract the loan. So if we take the $456,000 minus the $250,000, we paid $206,000 in interest. Enough that we could have bought another house. And I don't know about a home loan, but a home equity line of credit starts at 7% right now because I was looking. If you have good credit, so your credit score needs to be good to get a 7%, or you could be paying 8 or 9%. Any questions on that? Make sure you're showing your work on these. The formulas for effective rate, there's two of them. The first one is when it's a compounded amount, compounded monthly, quarterly, daily, yearly. And the R is the rate as a decimal, and C is the compounding, however many times it's compounded in a year. The second one, e to the R minus 1, is compounded continuously. On the test, I will kind of write it like that. I won't tell you what is what. There's formulas will be there. You just need to know when to use which one. So the first one on here, 5.3% compounded monthly. Because it's compounded monthly, you use the first formula. The e to the r is only if it says compounded continuously. So compounded monthly, r is the percent as a decimal. And what is c? How many times is monthly in a year? 12. So when you plug it in, the C's are 12s and the rate is written as a decimal. The big thing you want to make sure of, this 12 is in the exponent, but the -1 is not. So if it goes up on your calculator, make sure you come back down before you subtract 1. If it uses a caret and then the 12, close the parenthesis before you subtract the 1. You should get a number close to 0.053, but a little bit larger. I don't know if I said round on this one. I should have, but I don't think I typed it in on the thing. But round the percent to the 100th. On the test at the top, I put round everything to the 100th. That way, if I forgot, it's there. But you want to round your percent. This is the rate. This is the decimal. You need to make it a percent first and then round it. So if we were going to round to the 100th, we wouldn't do it on this decimal. We'd multiply by 100 first, and the 3 would be what we'd be rounding at. Because of the 0, it will stay a 3, 5.43%. And please make sure you're getting these in your calculator, that you know how to use it before the exam. And the next one, I believe, yeah, quarterly. 5.3% compounded quarterly. So it's still the same rate written as a decimal, but quarterly, what would C be now? Quarterly is 4 times in a year. You can remember 4 quarters in $1, it's 4. Again, the biggest mistake is making sure the -1 is not in the exponent. You should end up with something close to 0.053, but a little bit larger. Then make it a percent and round to the 100. Are you getting 0.0540627? If not, please tell me. If you don't have your calculators and you're using your phone, that's fine, but make sure you try the calculator before the test. Make it a percent first, and then round it to the 100th. So the percent would be 5.406. The O would round to a 1 because of the 6. Any questions on that? So this one, I don't think I said what to round it to, but you still needed to make it a percent before you rounded. Any questions? Okay, the next one is compounded continuously, so it uses that e to the r -1. That E button is wherever your natural log, your LN button on your calculator, you have to hit Shift and LN, and then the e to the x will come up. So that's how you get this E. Depending on how it's written, when you hit the LN button, the Shift and LN, sometimes you get E, a caret, and a parenthesis. Then you would put the rate, .053, close the parentheses first one. Some calculators just go right up to the exponent. Make sure you come back down before you subtract. Is everyone finding the exponential function in your calculator? So wherever the ln button is. So you should get .0544296. Any question?
Maybe battery.
But that did one very much, and then it should have cost. Oh, let go of that before you hit it. And then you figure out.
And then I looked back at it.
Put in friends. Yeah. And I'll bring them next week, so we'll practice it. And we'll go where everything. I don't get, don't leave, I got. So then when we make it a set, you got 5.44%, is everyone getting their calculator to work? Okay, so next week's the exam. Right? We will review on Monday. Wednesday, you can work on the take home, but I don't know. Oh, maybe we'll do it the following Monday. But anyways, there's a class this week. Everyone knows nothing on Friday, so you're done for the week, at least with our question. But all right, let's get quiet. So the final, I've been told that I can do a group project instead of a final, but it needs to be a presentation, and you still need to come during final week. I don't know. What do you think?
I think you would demolish.
I should take a final.
Oh, really?
We want to see our presentation. Everybody wants to see ours.
It does not have to be in a group, and if you want to do it yourself, but those who don't want to do it can email me. But if majority rules, that's what it is. I've never done group projects because I don't like them. But here's what we're doing. So you get into your group, and then you pick a company that's been around at least 10 years. And then not every chapter, each person in your group picks a chapter and makes a problem from that company. So maybe you look at how much they made in a year and you figure out how much they're gonna have to pay in taxes from the tax. Something like that. And so then you'll have to have 4 slides per person. But this way, each person's getting a chapter. So then if someone just doesn't do it, then you don't do that chapter. Well, that's what I like about it, because you don't have to worry about the person. If they don't do it, they don't do it. If you choose to do it by yourself, though, you're going to have to do a lot more than one chapter. So big groups would only need, like if you have a group of 4 or more, you each do a chapter. Pick a chapter, 4 different ones. I have to write it up more, but I have it right now as if you're going to choose it by yourself, you're doing 6 chapters. Because I want to see people work in groups. That's what this course is about. I don't know about 6 yet. I got to think about that. I might lower that if you're doing it yourself. The other thing is if you didn't present it, you lose 10 points. But we'll see. But if you are completely against it, send me an email so I know. I may still go against you and have it. Because then I don't have to grade 190 finals with an in-person and a take-home. I mean, it's a lot of work when you talk about a 10-problem take-home and a 2-hour in-person exam.
Oh.
Group project anytime.
So I was gonna ask, what will we have time to present if we during that 2 hours?
Okay, so your presentations would be, and I'm gonna like spin a wheel, everyone will have a number. But the presentations will be the last week of class and the final. So, but think about it, let me know your thoughts, send me emails. Don't blow my text up, but you can. Okay, have a nice weekend and I'll see you on Monday.
Well,